Should probably do that.
I, I'm just saying
I was
I
like,
mean,
they need to make it where it's automatic sometimes, but you know. And what I was going to say right at first was same old Dr. Fate.
right, because we've met him before, right,
That's one
Dave?
of the things that I was kind of thinking about too and watching this episode. Is like I was like, we haven't seen him, but it's like all of a sudden it's like Superman has this friend that could take on this demon.
Uh yeah, I have thoughts about that go all the way back to when I first saw this episode back in '97. So yeah.
You know what? There's a shot in here that like with this episode when it comes to well in the beginning where that burglar starts turning into Karkle,
Oh,
and
hold on. No, hold on. Let me make sure.
Karkle, something like
Carkle.
Karkle, yeah. But like I was like, oh, I just remembered like that reflection when he looks at
Oh
himself.
yeah, in the
I was
glass.
like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I remember that. Like that one, like really stuck. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember this episode. Because I was like, all right, the Dr. Fate episode, it just wasn't. We talked about it last week. Then when I started playing, I started remembering the, reminded me of what's his name in fucking SpongeBob. Anyways,
Okay. Sorry. Confession. I've never seen SpongeBob, so I
okay.
wouldn't
So
know.
you don't know who I'm talking about. I can't
I-
remember the character's name, but his mouth has like little things just like that too. So, anyways, welcome to DC Fan-imated. So, welcome to the DC Fan-imated stream, guys. I'm of course Dave, the film junkie. With me as always, Mr. Scott McClellan.
This is already starting off to be a really weird episode. I just
Hey,
feel it. This, okay, so kind of jumping in there. I know that usually you want to go start saying hi to people, but
no, it's fine. There's not.
I
Too
remember watching this episode. This is a weird thing where when Superman and Batman started coming back, I caught more episodes of this like on TBS
Oh, okay.
whenever I was traveling because my dad was a salesman. So a lot of our family vacations were just my dad's sales trips that, we tagged along because the company was paying for the motel and the gas and all that stuff. So when my dad would drive to the panhandle of Florida, that was how we had beach vacations. And I remember, and I didn't have cable growing up,
Yeah.
but I would always watch TBS on the motel televisions. And for some reason, that's how I caught a lot of this time period of the new Batman Superman adventures. So I distinctly remember being in a motel watching this episode. And when it got to that point where Superman flew to the Tower of Fate, and I'm sitting there going, well, when the hell did he meet Dr. Fate?
I know. It is what. I mean, it's. I like it because it's like we don't have to like do this whole origin story thing. I mean, it's kind of similar to like, hey, when the hell did the Flash become a thing? And they're just racing right now, and like,
But
charity.
at least that was the first time like Superman and the Flash had met. The
True.
Flash was a thing, but they're meeting for the first time in the race. That I was cool with.
Okay.
But this whole like
I got this friend.
I got this friend who does magic, and it's just like when did you meet Doctor? Like, I'm just kind of curious, like, in what point in your life did you, because you didn't even really become Superman until you showed up in Metropolis in, Last Son of Krypton Part 2. So it was like, well, when did you start hanging out with, Masters of Order, Lords of Order? I don't know.
It is interesting because, yeah, I'm like, okay, so when exactly would he have met him? There had to be something that had to happen. And then, of course, when we meet this Dr. Fate, he's kind of just checked out. He's like, I'm not fighting anymore, so maybe you should do the same. And he's just kind of, a little cynical and stuff.
Very,
and
very sad. And you notice that you never get him named.
No.
They call him Dr. Fate the entire time, even when he's not wearing the helmet. I mean, I'm going to assume this is Kent Nelson.
It seems like it. He's got those racial ghoul eyes too.
Did you notice that? I thought that was a choice there.
I think so. Magic, there's like that aspect of it. But I was like, yeah, he's got racial ghoul eyes. That black around the eyes, that eyeliner. I don't know what it is.
Well, is it eyeliner? Is it just?
So.
I don't think so either. But because on Ra's al Ghul, I would have actually have believed it was eyeliner because of his, technically his Egyptian, uh,
Yeah.
heritage in the comics. But yeah, they never call him Kent. They just call him Dr. Fate the entire time. And there were some choices made in this episode. I'm not gonna lie. I went into this episode being very I remember not being a huge fan of the episode, and watching the episode for preparation for the stream, I'm just like, "Yeah, this episode's pretty much the way I remember it."
Yeah, it's a cool episode. It's cool that there's like another character that we get from the DC universe, but at the same time, it's like, all right, so it's just I don't know. This episode's freaky. It's pretty scary
Yeah,
in a sense.
yes, because I'm actually gonna stop there and say what I didn't remember, especially about Carkle, was how Lovecraftian
Yeah.
he looks. Do you know what I mean by that?
This is the way like the his design and the kind of almost like
Yeah,
ghostly like, you know?
it's not goes because if you know H.P. Lovecraft, that classic horror writer from the 1920s, or maybe if you caught Lovecraft Country on HBO a couple of years
Ah,
back, uh, there's a design, especially for the monsters in Lovecraft's fiction were referred to as the elder gods,
okay.
and the big one's Cthulhu. You maybe you've heard
Yes,
that
I've heard of
name
that.
before, right?
I've heard that name.
So Cthulhu is drawn in the illustrations very much like Carl. So when you get like
Okay.
the squid octopus looking
Yeah.
creature with the like squid arm, like the squid tentacles in their mouth, that's like a Cthulhu
Okay.
elder god kind of it. So that design choice gets referred to as Lovecraftian because kind of all of his creatures, you know, eyeballs and tentacles and that kind of thing. So when you look at all the monsters and demons, I don't know what they were in this episode.
I mean, I guess.
I guess. I mean, that one big bad mamma jamma that Superman sees is kind of like, oh, okay.
There's some choices.
There's some
Yeah.
choices. So, but I just looked at the entire episode. Like we've talked in other episodes, how whenever they do space stuff, they went very Kirby. Like they
Mm,
definitely made a Kirby choice. It was interesting on this episode, they went hard on the like Lovecraft, like we're gonna make every creature look like it came straight out of a Lovecraft book. And I liked the design choice. I like that Lovecraftian look, but it's a very distinct look that it was clear that whoever designed these characters, you know, read a little too much of the Mouth of Madness or Call of Cthulhu and had it on the brain. I'm just saying.
okay. Now that makes sense because yeah, there are interesting choices. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of freaky things that happen, and right off the start, we just start off, of course, like how a lot of these start, where there's something, not how I would say, like there's always like it's a jewelry store or some kind of place that has some
It
valuable.
starts more like kind of like I expect a Batman
Yes,
episode to
exactly. That's what
start.
I was kinda getting at. It was like, so you have this robber that's in like an archaeology museum, and of course he's just looking at things, and then he finds, like, what would you call it? It's not a vase. What would you call that?
Oh, an
Vase,
urn.
urn or something like that. Yeah. And there's like there's some stone in there that has some scripture on it, some hieroglyphic kind of looking things on it. And of course, how many times have we seen this opening where it's like you find some secret thing that has something on it, something bad is on
So
around.
why do you read it? Why do you read it out loud?
Yeah.
I mean, especially when it magically turns some hieroglyphics into English.
Yes.
Like that wasn't
Oof.
a danger sign. I mean,
That's
dude.
throw it away, get out of here. But then, yeah, but then I mean, that's where like I said, when he looked at his because he gets out of there, he something obviously he releases Carcoal, yeah,
Carkle,
and
yeah.
yeah, and uh, and things happen, and then of course he's like trying to get out of there, and he's just going down the street, and he's like looks at himself in the mirror. I was like, oh yeah, that one. For some reason, that image right there just like totally just made my memory go bing. Oh yeah. I
Okay.
remember where this goes because at first I was like, how does this go? I mean, I was obviously setting up thumbnail, and I'm like, okay, I know that they team up to fight something, but I was like, what the fuck did they fight? And then all of a sudden, when I saw him do the reflection and you saw the green eyes, I was like, oh yeah, that fucking weird. Oh yes, they're just totally just explosion in my head.
That's
I got
that's
possessed.
I just love the way you describe the way your brain works
Yes,
sometimes.
it's
It's
great,
it's it's
isn't it?
it's it's entertaining.
Yeah.
I'll say that definitely. But it was but I also am like, okay, so he bumps into the security guard, which by the way, Ed Gilbert is the voice of the security guard. I always know him because he always plays like the random cop. Like I always think about him because he's that one cop guy in the helicopter in Mask of the Phantasm,
Oh yeah.
where it's like he's down. Oh, and I just they always used him as like you need the security guard, you need the cop. This was the guy you used, and my God, I've heard that man's voice so many times as we've been watching these shows. But then, of course, the thief gets away, and then he's just randomly walking down a busy street. I just it's
With the
Metropolis.
bag of all the stuff he stole and
Right,
he's
and he's
going,
like,
yeah.
"Ooh, ooh," and he's got claws for hands,
Yeah.
and he's just randomly bumping into people, but this is a metropolitan city, and it sure seems kinda empty for him kinda, like, walking through the street, especially, like, the couple who just randomly is carrying the wrapped baby. No stroller, no,
And
father's in, like, the suit, mom's all dressed up, and, "Oh,
yeah,
here's just little baby wrapped up," and he's like,
and it's funny is like you if he's robbing that museum, it should be late at night, but it's not. I know. We're totally nitpicking the shit out of this right now, but I'm
well, I
like,
mean, the episode's not, the best
no,
episode. Let's
it's not.
let's let's not humor ourselves. But
Yeah.
still, it's just like looking at going, okay. Now, however, when he turns down the alley and the full reveal happens of Carcoal, that's kind of cool.
Yeah,
Like
that's cool.
that's that's kind of cool. By the way, it's really hard because of all of the manipulation that's done.
Mhm.
But the voice of Carcoal is a person.
Okay. Okay. Because you can't even like. I was like thinking like maybe it's somebody, but I don't like. You can't tell with all the like all the what they add to it.
Modulation and
Yeah, there's
everything.
so much, and I'm like, No." But
Yeah.
who is
It
it?
it's Ted Levine.
Of course it is. Of course it is. Oh my god. Of course it's Ted Levine.
Of course,
Jeez.
it's Buffalo Bill. I mean, come
Yeah,
on, man.
I know, and I'm trying to, like, think of the voice now while we'll hear it on the clip. I'm like, "Jesus Christ, of
No,
course
I
that's."
know you really can't tell. I mean,
Yeah,
that
because there's so much on there.
it's produced so much.
Kern. You ever watch, what was it called? With Paul Walker and Steve Zahn. What was that movie called? Joyride. You ever watch Joyride?
No, I've never watched
Oh, you should watch
Joyride.
Joyride. It's a good fucking thriller. It's a very good thriller. It's got what's her name too. I can't remember her name, but yeah, it's just it's about two brothers who rent a car. He like one Paul Walker picks up his brother from like jail. They go on a cross country thing, and there's like a girl there too, and they have a ham radio, and they start messing with like this truck driver, and it's Ted Levine's voice. And the truck they fuck with him a little too much, and he fucks with them big time back. It's a great thriller. Watch it.
Okay, definitely.
Kirby. That's why I was like Candy Cane. Yeah, you understand if you actually watch that movie why I said Candy Cane. But yeah, oof. And because that's all you hear is his voice through the CB radio. It's so good.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, if you hear that voice, man, Ted Levine. He was in Lost World, wasn't he? I think he was in Lost World. Yeah,
It's possible. I'm gonna be honest, it's been so long since I've
yeah. I think
seen
he's in the
that.
Lost World.
And he's also really good at playing the straight man in comedies. Like there's a show I think he did. I cannot remember the name of it, or I feel like he played like a cop.
Monk.
Oh, that's
It was
right.
Monk.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I just like because like sometimes I'll have it on IFC and Monk will start playing. And I was like, Ted Levine was in this fucking show. Yeah, yeah, Monk. Yeah, there it is. Meant to be. But yeah,
Nice.
that's crazy. Yeah, you would not recognize his voice in here, but but at the same time, if now that I'm listening for it, I probably could hear it a little bit, but yeah,
Yeah, it's one of those things that you have to go into it knowing who you're
yeah,
listening for, because
no
otherwise
way.
no, it's just so much they did so much manipulation to the voice, and I'm gonna be honest, I spent a huge amount of time in the episode real like, just trying to understand what he was saying
Yeah,
because it was very
too
difficult to
much.
understand his dialogue. That was why, like, when, he flies off because he fights Superman, it's just a whole bunch of punchy, punchy, smashy, smashy, zappy, zappy,
Throwing cars and
throwing
shit.
car, like, oh, yeah, collateral damage because, yeah, let's throw a flaming car into the lobby of the Daily Planet.
Yeah,
Like, Clark, you know who works there. I mean, come on.
yeah.
But it was cool because it's a Doctor Fate episode that when Carkle is like doing the mumbo jumbo chanty chanty chanty, cast the evil spell, he mentions the Lords of Chaos, which is cool because if you know Doctor Fate from the comics, then you know that it's always Doctor Fate is a Lord of Order, and their nemesis are always the Lords of Chaos. And that's always kind of the big deal is like the back and forth between order and chaos. So the fact that in the Dr. Fate episode they name drop the Lords of Chaos, I thought that was, kind of cool because when I saw this episode, this probably back in 97 more than likely was my introduction to Dr. Fate.
Oh yeah.
This is because Dr. Fate being an old Justice Society character, I mean, not really one of those characters that got a lot of play in what I was reading. So I
Mhm.
really think that this was like as much as I knew about Dr. Fate back in 97 probably came from this episode.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, I mean that's what we've talked about many times. Of how many characters have we got introduced to, in this animated world, and then then we start digging into the books and go, oh,
Oh,
okay, now it makes sense. But it's cool that they, that's what these episodes do. But yeah, I mean it's yeah, and then of course like you said, he does the spell chanty stuff and then of course puts this force field around the Daily Planet with of course Jimmy and Lois in there. And
being a little Ghostbustery, not gonna lie.
okay, thank you.
Okay, good. Yeah.
I mean, I'm a big Ghostbusters fan. I was like, it's like Ghostbusters 2,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's like when they, especially when you see like fucking Maggie try to, saying like shoot this laser at it and it's not doing anything. I was just like, it's Ghostbusters 2, except it's not a big blob of fucking slime.
Lime. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
it's a supernatural force field that is just like around it. So, but yeah, yeah, very Ghostbustery. But yeah, so then of course, yeah, this is where we get Superman knows, he knows. So, and I like it how they have like the hippie girl that just like shows up.
Like
And then,
the corner, the neighborhood Wiccan
yeah,
who, funny enough, voiced by Cree Summer,
who's that?
um, a very, very prolific voice actress. You've heard her
I probably have.
a
Her voice
gajillion
sounded
times.
familiar. Yeah.
Well, there's a reason her voice sounds familiar.
Okay.
She's going to be Max in Batman Beyond.
Well, there you go. Okay. So yeah, because even that name sounds familiar.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
because Cree Summers has been in
Yeah.
like, I mean, it's one of those. It's one of those. I know that voice. Like she's
Yeah.
one of those voice actors.
Yeah.
Which, once again, thanks to the DC animated universe, there's a lot of those voice actors. Because once again, we grew up in a golden age of cartoons,
Oh, of course. Yeah.
and she's just one of those voices that you just go, "Yep, there she
Heard
is."
that before, and now we have the technology to look it up. You're like, oh yeah, there. No, no, I knew it. I knew it was her. Yeah. But I like how she plays somebody. She's Doris or Rain Song,
Yeah,
and
my elven friends call me Rain Song.
yeah, it's just funny because it's like they don't know what the hell is happening. You got Turpin there, and
Oh,
everybody.
Turpin. Oh,
It,
Turpin is hilarious in this episode.
yeah, and it's like again, it's like you love these episodes because it's like Turpin just going. It's
What
like
the
fuck,
fuck?
why do I have to deal with this shit? Like, this is now we're dealing with supernatural forces. It was bad enough that it was just aliens. Now it's just like other dimensional shit. It's just like,
And you just know
ugh.
he's like, "Where's Intergang?
Yeah,
I just want Intergang."
yeah,
Even when they had stupid alien technology, at
yeah.
least it was just crooks.
Yeah, poor guy. He's just trying to, he's just trying to do good and he's grumpy. But so, of course she knows everything that's, kind of going on. She knows who Crokel is, or yeah, Carkle, sorry.
I
And
know
then
it's a weird name, dude.
I
I mean,
know.
and
And
this
then she knows what the
you get a
force field is.
pass. You get a pass
I
this
know. I get a
week.
pass this time because it's yeah. So she knows things that are going on, and of course they question. But then Superman's just like, "Well, I know somebody," and then of course, yeah, he goes to the Tower of Fate, and then yeah, it's just there. Like, where is it?
Where is it?
Okay.
Thank you. Where is it? Where's the tower? Is it in Metropolis Park?
Yeah,
Is it, where and I'm also and of course, normally the Tower of Fate is depicted as being well, literally outside of time and space. So really the Tower of Fate can be wherever.
yeah,
You
it's yeah,
so but the fact that it's just hanging out,
yeah.
it's
It
a
looks like it's
tower.
just at a park or something. It's weird, but whatever. It's
I just
fine.
I know. It feels a little bit like Cleopatra's Needle would be in the middle of Central Park, and just like, but there's Tower of Fate, but
It's just right there.
it also looks like a medieval
Yeah,
English castle, like the one of the corners on the castle. It's just
yeah.
standing there, and of course he does the thing where he like walks around, and then the little Ankh symbol appears, and Fate's wife shows up. I didn't really catch her name.
Enza.
Inza,
Yeah.
Inza, okay.
Yeah. So she shows up, and then of course, I mean, this is after he's had this fight. So Superman's hurting because he got some deep scratches over the emblem right
Well,
there.
because magic,
Magic.
always remember that, Superman can be affected by magic. He
Yep.
is not
And
immune to magic.
no, he is not. So he's hurting. He's not even when he lands, he like stumbles. So he's like he's in pain. And then of course, he gets in there, and then I love how she just like heals him real quick. And then he goes, he's like, I don't suppose you sew too. And then she just goes, it's just like, yeah, there you go. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's not so much sewing. It's just magic there, Clark. So that's cool that she did that for him at least.
Yeah, and it's really funny for me to think about the fact that the last time we dealt with magic was back in Batman the Animated Series with Zatanna, but
Yeah.
she wasn't magic, she was just an illusionist, and
Mhm.
now we're like, "Oh, no, no, no. There's magic. There's magic, there's demons, like, no, we're going, full on. Like, it's all real." And it's just it's funny. I think the thing that gets me, going
Okay.
back to our conversation about when the hell did Superman meet Fate? Because obviously they've had this long-standing relationship based on the dialogue. It's not like Batman. Batman's got the year,
Got the history with these people.
he's got the history. He's got the years in the wilderness. There's always that time in between. He leaves Gotham and he comes back, and we've seen that. We've seen his travels to Japan. We've seen him
Yeah.
studying with Zatara. We know that there was a time period, and we know some of the things. So with Batman, at least the way that, and especially the way they did in the animated series, if he happens to know some random person, you just go, well, yeah, yeah, that makes sense.
With
Superman,
Superman. Nah.
it just hasn't. You just always get the idea that, especially in this universe, he went from Smallville to Metropolis. You
I know.
know,
There's no like crazy, time period in between where he went up to the mountains
no,
or went to another
it's
dimension.
not like in Superman 78 where it's
Mm.
like he hiked to the North Pole and
Yeah.
built the Fortress of Solitude,
Yeah.
and then and then stayed in the Fortress of Solitude for like 10 years. Like that part in the Superman movie always confuses me. It's like, did
Of
he
course.
just sit in the cave? Did they just sit
Yeah.
there listening to AI Jor-El for like 10 years? I don't know.
Probably. Yeah, he probably yeah, I know that's always like a weird one where it's like, okay, yeah, he was up there for how long?
I
All right.
know, yeah, but that goes back to the animated series. When did he find the little cave that becomes the Fortress of Solitude? It's like
Exactly.
that just there's just all of this, like, This series, unfortunately, does not establish the idea that Clark did any kind of like wandering or
Yeah.
had some time or anything like that, like Batman the Animated Series established for Bruce. So when these jumps happen where you're just like, when did he find the random cave that becomes a Fortress of Solitude? How does he know Dr. Fate? How does he know that magic is a thing in the world? Because that's another thing. This episode introduces, correct me if I'm wrong, but we've not had magic. We've had aliens, we've had interdimensional beings.
We've had multiverse.
We've had yeah, we have had multiverse, right? Because of Brave New Metropolis,
Mhm.
but we've not had magic. So
No.
this is your first introduction, and I just feel like there should be more of a oh, magic's a thing,
Yeah.
like, and so this feels like an episode that should have happened after having an episode of magic's a thing.
You know what? It probably would have benefited, because anytime, okay, and we always talk about the whole two-part thing. Maybe it should have been something like that, where we got an
Yes.
introduction to a Doctor Fate, and we got like more of a back, as opposed to just I know this guy, and then when we meet the guy, he's very cynical, and when we do meet him, he's like, yeah, I removed myself.
He's fucked the world.
Yeah, he's like, you know what? I fought the battles. My helmet is now in a glass case, and I just look at it, and that's about it.
I
I
think
don't
deep
care.
thought. I sit here and I think deep thoughts.
Yeah, he's in the metaphysical realm. Almost that reminded me of like X-Men and Cerebro a little
Oh,
bit.
oh, Cerebro.
Yeah,
Yeah,
little
yes.
Cerebro-ness in there. Um, but yeah, he's just like he talks. I mean, yeah, I mean, we've met a Doctor Fate that is just totally just checked out, and he's just like, no, I'm my brain is over here now. It's not about like what's in this world. It's not worth fighting anymore because it's just you just keep on fighting and fighting. Now if you bring yourself into like beyond the universe and all this stuff, and it's like okay, cool, this is a interesting introduction to this character. And I feel like with this first introduction of Superman handling magic, it's like, yeah, they could have probably just had a two-part story and introduced Dr. Fate and introduced Superman to magic as opposed to just like, oh, I know what's going on here. I got a buddy. It's like, yeah,
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot that could be fixed. I
yeah,
hate using that word, but yeah, there's a lot that could be given with a this could have been a two-parter. Like
yeah,
this would have benefited from being a two-part episode. I completely agree. I also wish something that happens a lot in this episode, and sometimes it's a trope that I don't enjoy. But when magic is just laser zapping out of our hands, it's like I like magic being more than that.
yeah,
Instead of just chant words, zap beams. It's
yeah.
like it's that okay. So basically, magic is lasers. Like,
Yeah.
huh?
There's that whole aspect, and then it's like, okay, here's this magic rock. Hold on to it. It'll help you later. And it's like, okay. And then it does. Like Enza just throws like this, I forgot what they call it.
Talisman or
Talisman,
a
yeah, something
token
like
or
yeah. But it's just like, hey, here you go. Give that a whirl. And it's like, okay, all right, a little too easy, I guess. Maybe, but I mean, I get it. It's like, okay, so when he goes back, it's like,
22 minutes, as you like to tell
yeah,
me.
exactly. I mean, they are trying to fit 22 minutes, but again, if they could have just like had like a better introduction to this world, maybe there could have been like something, I don't know. Who knows? But and then of course, again, with Fate just being so out of it. I mean, he just basically grills her and goes like, "You send him to the grave," and she just goes like, "What do you care?" It's like, oh,
Ooh, yeah,
that's right,
that was a husband wife burn if I've ever heard one.
totally, because she was just sick of his shit, and it's like, okay, if you don't care about this shit anymore, then why are you even saying this to me right now? You
As you
know?
sit in your chair with your steeple fingers,
Yes,
you
of
know,
course.
I always love that. It's like.
Yeah, exactly.
I wish I had a big fancy chair that I could sit at and just stare, you
One
know,
of these days, we
one of
will
these
get those
days, and
back.
I'll just steeple my fingers, and I'll just
Do that,
and
summon
Dave
that energy.
and then Dave will walk in, I'll just be like,
Exactly.
I need to have the eyeliner so I can have, like,
Yeah,
the really
exactly.
cool
You
eyes,
have those big eyes.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so we get that, and then, of course, inside the Daily Planet, it's starting to already look, crazy, and
Okay, this
people
is creepy. This is the
yeah,
creepy part of the episode. I'm sorry, but
creepy.
I mean, he opens basically a pit to hell,
Yeah.
essentially, and then all the demons start flying out, and then they start, like, possessing different members of the Daily Planet, and then they all,
Yeah.
like, this
You
could
hear,
have
like
been horrifying. Like,
yeah, as a kid, especially, you hear, like, a tearing sound too because they rip through the clothes that they're wearing.
skin,
Yeah,
it's
but even though, like, when they turn back, they have the clothes on, so I guess that's not really
I
no
know
I don't
that
know, who knows?
I know tw
Semantics.
it's magic.
It's magic. Oh, oh, it's magic. Yeah. So yeah, and of course, and I love it like the line that like, Jimmy's like, holy, and then like he's about to say like, essentially holy shit. And then
Shit.
like Lois is like, bad choice of words, Jimmy. And like it's like, yeah, it was a good little line. I like
Even though
that.
it's really weird that when the demons fly out, they're just like evil stingrays.
Yeah,
Which
that's what they look like. They're
evil
like, yeah,
stingrays,
little
yeah.
nice. Yeah, yeah. Like I said, their choices on all. I mean, everything's kind of, squiddy, fishy,
Yeah, except
of.
for the one creature that I think is really kind of a cool design, which is like the one that's like got like the pincer hands and the
Hmm.
eyes, but you look and the feet are backwards. So like
Oh
they're
yeah,
walking back. That was just
that's a cool design. Yeah.
that was a cool design. It's creepy as hell, but it was a cool
Creepy,
design.
very creepy. And then, of course, they get possessed, or they end up getting possessed. And I love it how like the low, like
Lois keeps her hair.
I know, yeah, her hair stays. It's like so which one
It
is
was
low.
Lois, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was funny. So then Superman shows up, and of course he's got that rock or that whatever the hell they call it,
Talisman.
talisman, whatever. And of course that just he could break through. I mean, again, like you said, 22 minutes. So it's like, okay, we get it. They symbolize, and then of course, Maggie and Turpin are are behind him, but only he has the since he's holding it, only he can get inside. So they still can't get inside. And then of course this is where we just like have like a little bit of a showdown.
Oh, no,
And
first
then
the coven goes, "Where would you like us to chant?"
yeah, I know. Rain Song comes with her,
Rings.
with her whole like cult behind her, and they're like, "Where would you like us to chant?" And Turpin's like, "Oh, Jesus."
Jesus.
Again, you just feel for Turpin. You do, you do. And then of course, yeah, everybody gets possessed, and then Superman shows up, and of course, Carcole goes like, "I don't remember inviting you," when that all happens. And then what I do like though, and this is what's interesting, and I thought that was kind of cool, was the fact that when all the other demons start fighting Superman, and they're obviously Superman is having trouble. This is magic. This is craziness. Kirk Carkle goes, "Careful, it might be someone you know." And I was like,
Yes.
"Oh, that's a little bit of like, okay, so if he can't kill, he can't just like,
I wish that
use."
would have had more impact. Like, that's a
Yeah, true.
cool idea that doesn't really get played because he still just throws people around.
Yeah, he does. Yeah,
But
so it
it's
could
a
have been a
cool.
thing where it's like he's fighting with the lowest demons, and it's like, what do I
One
do
time,
here?
I think it's Jimmy that attacks him at
I
one
think that
point.
is right. Yeah, so it's like that they could have really emphasized it a little bit more because it was a cool line that was said by
Just
Carkle. And
wish
I
there
was
was
like,
better execution of it.
yes, exactly. But of course, they were like, well, we gotta have, of course, we gotta have the entrance. We gotta have
Oh,
the
the entrance
entrance,
is cool. The entrance is cool.
and that's where we're coming in, of
Oh, we're
course.
coming in with Dr.
Of
Fate.
course,
Okay.
of course. That's just of course I was like, oh yeah, we got to come in with that entrance right there because I mean, how do you not have a Dr. Fate thing? Come on, HBO Max. Jesus Christ. Why?
Just Max, man. It's just
Oh,
Max.
sorry. Is that why? Maybe.
Yeah,
Come
that's why.
on. See, it's not working. It's
It's
oh,
not
there we go.
working.
It's fine. It's fine now. I don't know why. It's like when I pause it and then I click over on my Google Chrome, it'll just like automatically go like, "Oh wait, I gotta like remember where it was," and it starts doing the circle thing, and I'm like, "Good God, man." Anyways, here we go. But yes, we get the entrance of Dr. Fate. and it's a great entrance.
You continue to surprise me, but as I said,
See, now I can hear Ted
Yeah,
Levine.
Good, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
you can hear it now. Yeah.
But I do.
Whoa. There it is.
It's a cool, and also Dr. Fate translates really well to the animated series, like
He definitely
design
does.
our
game.
humans had come to an end long ago.
No such luck, I'm afraid.
What magic do you have?
Everyone's voice sounds like they're in a deep echo chamber.
Oh.
The artifact of Lorton. I destroyed it.
What has
Oh, the Rock!
been
Yeah.
This is really melodramatic. I'm not gonna lie.
It is.
Lorta, Terra.
Ah. No.
No!
You didn't see it because Dr. Fate didn't see him holding back his hand, ready to
I know,
shoot
right?
a beam. I mean, evil stingrays attack.
They look like, yeah, they have with like a little, they almost look like Batman
The artifact.
with the,
It's the only
their,
power that
their
can trap
wings.
him. Get it!
Go for the
Yeah.
MacGuffin, Superman. It's the artifact you just found out existed in this episode. Zap! Zappity zap!
Zap, zap, zap. Pentacle slap.
So dramatic.
It really is. It's like you made that whole dramatic entrance, and geez, man. Now you got Superman diving through the fucking anal of hell right here.
You did not just go there.
I totally
do not-
did.
I do not appreciate a Ragnarok reference. You, sir, go to the corner. You-
Ah,
now this,
look at that. That's pretty freaking. Yeah.
that is really
Freaking.
cool.
Yes. So close.
Oh,
He's just getting slapped around.
what is everyone? Guys, stop waving the magic rock around like, here, come after me.
Don't let go.
And
Don't let go.
you play football, man.
Lorta,
Protect the ball.
Lorta,
We got this. We
Terra,
got this.
Sum, Carto.
Just chant the words.
Ten Ama. Ten Ama.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest. Does it really hurt that much to say an incantation? Like, it's
Right?
like,
You know, it must feel nice for Superman, though. It must feel nice for Superman to be holding up a rock that is destroying somebody else for a
I
change.
know, right? I also love the fact that all Superman has to do is like, here, rock,
Yeah.
sucky, sucky.
Yeah, exactly.
Did we miss something?
And then poof,
Oh.
it's all back to normal.
Yeah, it's all an illusion. And there's that skirt.
okay.
It's not even a skirt. It's like their
Yeah, the trench.
coat.
Yeah, whatever.
Hold on.
She's wearing short shorts underneath.
We
maybe.
like short shorts.
And then, and then of course it's like, okay,
The healing balm should do its work.
See,
Of course.
it's just everything. It's just everything's gonna be fine.
made
It's,
you change your
that's the
mind?
thing about this
You.
episode.
Something
Is
Yeah.
everything's just so
Squeezy.
hand wavy, just
Yeah.
like,
You went
and
back.
now it's fine.
You didn't stand a chance, but you went back.
yeah, they could have benefited from a
The man I
longer
thought was only
two-part
the
story.
forces of
With
evil
this.
that wouldn't give up. I was wrong.
I was wrong. And then where was he holding that at?
It's like where did the
Batman.
grappling hook come out
Yeah.
of his utility belt? I mean, seriously.
He
I
just
mean,
he's like, all right, here we go. I have your helmet just like right here behind me.
You know, it's kind of like that episode.
I could do magic too. Hey,
Well, it's kind of like with Batman, especially when he had the original design belt, not the redesign with the pouches.
yeah.
It's like, you know, I remember that episode where like Gordon handed him a VHS tape and he just clicked it. It's just like, where the hell's that where does the VHS tape go? Where do all the grappling guns come from?
It's
Just
you
like-
suspend that disbelief, man. That's what it's. That's what it is. That's what I like about the Batmans, because you actually could see the holster where the grappling gun is.
Yeah, it's because he's got a leg belt.
Yeah, he's got a fucking leg belt. I mean, I think that's the first, and that's why you got to appreciate different interpretations of these characters, because Matt Reeves was like, the grappling gun. You're gonna have a leg belt. You're gonna look like a fucking, like a cowboy kind of thing. It's just gonna be right there, and it's
Well,
gonna
but
make,
also, but there's also because he's also got the one that comes like
yes,
that literally you watch him because it folds into his like
yeah,
gauntlet. So it's like, and I'm sorry, that's a badass move that he does in GCPD when it's like this, and then you just see it go ching, and then
yeah.
oh
Whoa.
my pop filter. I was very lots
You were
of
getting
action,
very animated on that one, Scott.
very animated. Man, the
Yeah.
people who listen to this on Spotify just missed out on all the action.
Exactly. If you're watching a video, you just saw like Scott just knock over his spit guard thing over his.
It's called a pop filter,
Sorry.
okay? Yes, it's a spit guard, but it's called a pop filter. Yes, thank you. I appreciate that. Man, I always hate how like that's going to happen. It's like
Yeah.
when I smack. It's like usually like when I smack like the keys or something that's over here. It's like
Oh, don't worry. I do.
this
do
is
that.
more exciting than the episode we just watched. I'm not
Pretty
gonna
much. A little
lie.
bit. A little bit. It was kind of like a magic trick. It kind of was.
A really failed one. I'm not sure. No, that's a distraction so that you didn't see what I did over here.
Exactly. Oof. Your eyes were over here, but my hands were moving over here. Watch out. But yeah, there you go, guys. I mean, it's cool to see Dr. Fate in here, but at the same time, I think we're both just kind of like, could have been better. Could have been a better way to introduce Dr. Fate. It just seems like it's like,
And magic. That's the
yes,
thing I think that bothers me the most is this makes magic a thing.
yeah. And it's just kind of like it's like, oh, Superman's already dealt with this before. Okay.
Oh, cool. That would have been nice to
Yeah.
know. Appreciate
Yeah.
that.
I would want to know like why they decided to do it like this, like why they
Well, okay. I have some thought because you gotta
okay.
think we're on the back half of season 2.
Yeah.
I mean, we've Batman's coming back. We just had a crossover. I just feel like it was, hey, we did this with the Flash. We want to start introducing more, like, we're allowed now to start exploring the wider DC universe.
Yeah.
And I just feel like they just made choices to just make it a one-off episode
Yeah.
when it's like, oh, this could have been cooler. It's could have
Yeah.
been so much cooler.
It definitely could have been, but what could he do? It still has some moments, some freaky moments, some cool moments, and then just some what the fuck moments.
Just what the
But
fuck. There's a
yeah,
lot of what the fuck going on in this episode, not gonna lie.
true that. What do we got next week?
We're going back to Gotham City.
Oh boy. About
Yes.
time.
I know. It's been a hot minute for some cold comfort.
Cold comfort. Oh, well, I mean, that kind of gives it away right there.
I mean, right? I mean, just,
Yeah.
even Dave can figure out what this episode's about.
What is this, a Harley episode? No.
Ooh.
No. Cold. We haven't seen, yeah, because when it comes to the Batman Adventures, we haven't seen Mr. Freeze yet.
No, the last time we saw him was Sub-Zero.
Right, the movie.
The movie, yeah.
Yeah.
Funny story that I'll talk about next week's episode. This episode aired before Sub-Zero came out.
Oh, that's right. I think maybe we talked about
that because we talked about
that, right?
We talked about the funky release schedule for
Yeah.
Sub-Zero because of how Batman and Robin, the movie, screwed everything up.
They're just like, go. Yeah.
But Cold Comfort actually aired before Sub-Zero. So for you, Dave, and for the audience, an experiment. Imagine going watching Cold Comfort, thinking you haven't seen Sub-Zero yet. Just putting that out there.
Uh-huh. I know.
I
That would be very, especially with the design change too.
Yeah, with the design change and all kinds of things that get talked
Yeah.
about in the episode. But
Yeah.
watch the episode and realize when you watch this in 97,
Yeah.
you hadn't seen Sub-Zero yet because they hadn't freaking released it yet.
Good Lord. It's crazy. Crazy. All right. Well, there you go. Cold Comfort next week, guys.
Batman
Back
the Animated Series.
Yes, back to Gotham City. Like I said, we are bouncing back and forth now since they just go in that kind of order. We're trying to keep it as chronological as possible. So go ahead and watch that, and we'll be back here next Thursday. And it should be a fun one. This one was no matter what, we always have fun talking about these episodes.
We have fun, even if the episode is
yeah, that's what it is. Anyways, plug away, Scott.
Well, of course, you can find me on Twitter at ScottDC27. You can find me on Instagram at McMurlin, and you can find me on Vero at Scott McClellan. You can find my podcast, the DC Squadcast, wherever podcasts can be found. We're on Vero, Facebook, YouTube, with the entire network of shows at squadcastmedia.com.
There it is. Smash that like, thumbs up, guys. We'll see you tomorrow on the Vodka stream at 7 p.m. Pacific time. And we'll see you guys next week on DC Fan-imated. We'll talk to you later.